After nearly 2 years of discussing the potential purchase of a new vessel for Condor, P&R supported the ferry company in acquiring the MV Straitsman, a ferry from New Zealand that'll be renamed the Islander. The route to purchase was a complicated one, involving an initial plan for the Guernsey Investment Fund to buy it, and then a second plan that required the convening of the Civil Contingencies Authority. It's raised a lot of questions about what exactly happened. During the second of a series of podcasts with Express, the President of P&R, Deputy Peter Ferbrache, discussed how the dream of buying a boat was realised. And talking about borrowing money, I'll move on to another topic entirely, and it'd be remiss of me not to bring up Condor. I know you probably expected me to start a conversation about this, because I know last time that me and you had a conversation in this format was maybe a year and a half ago, and that was the first time I think you said you wanted to buy a boat. And now we kind of have, in a way. Are you happy with the process?
I'm not being coy, but I'm restricted as to what I can say, because the decision, P&R were authorised by the Civil Contingencies Authority to go ahead and effect the transaction, to complete to go ahead with the transaction, because under the terms of the Civil Contingency Law of 2012, it was deemed that it fell within the provisions of that law. We received legal advice, but we're very restricted. I'm chair of the Civil Contingency Authority, and the other permanent members are Deputy Pro Home Affairs, Deputy de Summeray as Environment and Infrastructure, and Deputy Barad as Health and Social Care. We're the four, if you like, permanent members. If one of us is sick or can't make it, our Vice President attends. Also, in this case, there were two meetings, and in the second meeting, representatives from Alderley and Sark were also present. But I'm not allowed to say, well, if I am permitted in due course to tell you and the media more, I will do so. I can't really say much more than that.
So the exact nature of any potential emergency, is that something that we'll ever know? Because I think
you will in due course, but it's got to be, it's a bit like, we've done a review, haven't we, in connection with COVID?
Yes.
The only time in recent years, say for this instance, that that the Civil Contingency Law has been used is for COVID in recent years, and we're going to do a report saying what we will be permitted to say to the public and the media. I would envisage that we might be able to do that in due course, but we can't do it yet.
So those conversations, they didn't involve Condor then, really?
No, we didn't. I mean, the conversations, well, I can't say too much because I'd be breaching the provisions of the law, but Condor were not in the room with us, figuratively or literally, when we had those conversations.
They were just waiting for funding for a boat, I suppose.
Well, Condor, I mean, what we can say, which is in the public domain, is that Condor have been looking for a boat, because that's been in the public domain for a long time.
So, talking about the funding of it, now that we've got to a point where it's being funded through a loan from the bond, the loan to Condor, and joint funding from both Condor and the States of Guernsey, there must be a future where we see a service level agreement, because we don't have one at the moment. Am I right in thinking that?
You're right. We've never had. Jersey had a contract with Condor, which is in rundown. I think it's got about 2 years to go. Wind down, whatever terminology they use. So it will expire in a couple of years' time. We never had one. We had a memorandum of understanding. But effectively, albeit not strictly legally, I mean, everything we did was legal, but we followed those arrangements. We definitely need, we Guernsey, need a proper service level agreement with Condor going forward, and an agreement. What I would like to see, and I know my colleagues, both in P&R and I think generally in the States would like to see, is a tripartite agreement between us, Jersey and Condor.
Is that a conversation that's happening?
Well, we've had, in the 2.5 years or thereabouts that I've been President of Policy and Resources, Chief Minister, we've had lots of conversations with Jersey, and those will continue. I cannot say that they will bear fruit tomorrow, next week, next year, but I hope they will in due course.
Has the purchase of a ferry through a facility like a loan from the bond, has that impacted capital portfolio projects at all? Because I know in the past, when we discussed funding capital projects,
undoubtedly there'd be less money. Yeah, of course. It will. Of course it will. But that wasn't the major cause, or indeed a significant reason for the decision that we made, and which the states can either accept, reject, or amend. It was the overall, as you identified at the very beginning, or near the beginning of this conversation, there are other consequences. But the two major projects in that capital portfolio are the schools and the hospital. They're the two. Everything else is still going to cost a lot of money, but those are the big costs, and those are the ones that need builders. I mean, the boat is built.
And the boat is it's on its way. I've heard it's on its way. So, I mean, you're happy that we bought because this was kind of your...
I'm happy with the arrangements, yeah. I think it's in the best... we can only do so if we were authorised by the CCA. It's in the best interest of the Bailiwick.
Thank you for listening to the Bailiwick Express podcast. The title track was Shift My Weight by Luno. If you enjoyed it, I know it's a pain, but please like and share. It all helps, and remember, you can hit bailiwickexpress.com to stay right up to date with whatever is happening in the Bailiwick. You can find us online, on social, on email, and on internet radio. There'll be more from me, Matthew Leach, and all the Bailiwick Express team next Friday.